I have been waiting to get back to talking about Pax Dei, but I was waiting for them to announce their Q1 testing. Unfortunately, Q1 came and went, and they weren't quite ready to start. If you don't know what Pax Dei is, there's an introductory video up there in the upper right-hand corner. This video is more for giving you the testing information, and the big information is they're inviting 100,000 people to their next round of testing. Testing will begin on April 23rd. You need to be registered at playpaxdei.com no later than April 15th. I'm going to put a link to that in the description below, so make sure if you're interested in testing one of the big MMO sandbox games in development that you sign up right now. In fact, pause the video and go sign up and then come back. Are you back? Okay, good. I like the fact that the company is willing to talk about why they're late and why they're delayed. The big piece of the delay was that they had some things that kind of just got away from them. Some of the things were more challenging to implement than they expected. And then going along with that, while they were fixing all the bits and bobs and pieces that they wanted for the next alpha test, other team members were working on new features and content that wasn't originally supposed to be in Alpha 2. So the Alpha 2 that we're getting is a little bit more flushed out than they originally intended. They have been touching and tuning a lot of parts of the game. They've introduced new statistics for gear. They've introduced new consumables. They are starting to have us test PvP in this next testing cycle. They have changed a little bit of crafting. They've started working on progression balancing. So they might be a little bit further ahead in some lanes than we were hoping. And of course, once they get this round of testing data, they might be a lot of things they need to change. This testing cycle will be 1 week long. So that should give you a good amount of time to get into the game, play around, see if you like it, break it, whatever. Now, the important part to remember is this is not a survival game. There are a couple of bits and pieces of survival mechanics, and I say that when you have consuming food in order to give yourself buffs. A lot of people view that as a survival mechanic. I don't necessarily think it needs to be just pigeonholed into that. I think you can have that mechanic in other games. If you're looking to hang out with the Paradox crew, our friend token is Paradox. That will place you, or should at least in theory place you, nearby me and my guild. What can you expect out of Alpha 2? They have done a lot of work. They have done a lot of expansion on crafting. The basics of it remains the same, but it's a new crafting stations, new resources, magic materials are being introduced. So there is a, it's iteration that we saw some stuff, and we can't talk about what we saw, but we saw some stuff, and now the people that are going to be returning, they're going to see new stuff. Speaking of returning players, if you did participate in the first alpha test, you will not need to do anything to get into this second one. They've also worked on combat. They say that enemies are now smarter and more formidable. As always, as we see in a lot of games in development, the first passes of the mob AI, the mob behavior, isn't always compelling. They need to start with a baseline, get some player data, which they did in their first alpha, make some tweaks. Now they need to test their tweaks to see if they went in the right direction. They did world enhancements. They are a lot of subtle improvements. They've changed the lighting. They've changed the biomes. And they're claiming that these subtle yet significant improvements enhance the overall atmosphere, making every corner feel alive and vibrant. Finally, we are going to be testing the first pieces of PvP. Now, the long and short of it for Pax Dei is that you have Homeland and then you have Lyonese. And Lyonese is the area of the game that is not protected by the divine. You can't build a home there, you can't base there, but you want to go there because it has some of the most dense pure iron nodes in the game, and there are other things to discover. What are those other things? We don't know yet. And I'm not 100% sure if everything's going to be in the alpha. The Mainframe Industries seems like the kind of studio that's going to hold some things back and make us find them out when the game is actually live. This also, big thing here for the PvP players that get in. This is labeled, in fact, I'm going to show you so there's no confusion. Wilderness Alpha will feature only a first version, a minimum viable product, if you will. When you enter, you're automatically flagged for PvP. When encountering another player, you should consider them a potential enemy. We know you've been clamoring for PvP areas, and we're curious to see what you will create in the sandbox approach. So yes, when you go into this area, you are automatically flagged for PvP. This is where they're going to need a lot of feedback. Give good feedback. I know other game developers say this sucks is acceptable feedback. I like to hold gamers to a higher standard. If you're going to say this sucks, say this sucks because if you say this is great, and I say this sucks, the developer says 1 and 1, it's a net sum 0, I'm just going to build what I want. But if you say this sucks because nobody goes into the PvP area, and I say this sucks because nobody goes into the PvP area, then they can start to figure that out. We need to bait the hook a little more. Also, the PvP area is not as vast as the other areas. The PvP area is only 4 square kilometers. And they offer the suggestion of they don't need to have 100 square kilometers of land if there's the thrill of battle around every corner. So when you're in there testing, does the PvP area seem good? Does the PvP area seem bad? Is it too big? Is it too small? Is the density of resources wrong? Do you not go there without a crew because you're afraid of getting jumped? These are the sort of bits and pieces that they need to hear. Now, the province of Lyonesse is strategically located between all 4 Heartland provinces, so everybody will be going into the same PvP area if they're contesting for those specific resources. If you have any other questions about Pax Dei, you want to know how you sign up, don't hesitate to leave a comment. I will try my best to answer every question. And then later this month, I should be, unless life in the world happens, I should be doing a little bit of streaming of Pax Dei because, as you heard, the NDA is down. So fellow content creators, now is the time you can get involved with Pax Dei, make your YouTube videos, do your Twitch streaming, your blogs, your vlogs, your shorts, whatever it is you make. Now's the time for that. I will see you guys next time.